Hello, my name is Ralph Hess from Enware Technologies, and I'm pleased today to provide an overview primer of our Lisa Express WMS system for SAP Business One. It has been a certified integration with SAP Business One since 2006 and is one of the leading warehouse management solutions for the market. Lisa Distribution WMS, the Express version, provides warehouse configuration that extends the capability of SAP Business One bins. It provides directed warehousing activities to ensure that your people are moving in the most efficient way through the warehouse. It implements radio frequency-based scanning of all warehouse transactions, including purchase order receiving, all inventory movements, picking, packing, and shipping, as well as cycle counting. Barcode labeling is included in the product, as well as a full history and traceability of all transactions conducted on the scanners. Who's using Lisa Distribution WMS today? Well, it's a host and variety of other companies. We have furniture companies, candy companies, food companies, electronics, automotive, really apparel type companies, really a variety of different companies in different markets and industry verticals, all with different requirements, have been successful in implementing Lisa Distribution Express and Distribution WMS for their purposes. So that gives you a little bit of an overview of what the product is. Let's go and actually take a look at the product now. As we log into SAP Business One, you can see immediately that we leverage the cockpit capability of SAP Business One to show different information around the warehouse. So immediately we are really focused on optimizing the warehouse through automation and scanning. So we pop up the warehouse performance report. This is just some of the real-time monitors that we have in the system for you to be able to monitor the transactions as they're flowing through your warehouse. Most people are most interested in primarily the scanning aspects of what a warehouse management solution can do for them. And so what we do is we deploy a very efficient scanning application using web technology to run on mobile computing devices. So here you can see an Intermec CK3, and this gives us the ability to have mobility in going around and doing our scanning process. Now, equally important is the ability to cost-effectively deploy this solution. So we also leverage this technology to be able to deploy the same application, because it's a web page, on a static or just a standard type desktop or computer system. So essentially what you have is the capability of running this application on anything that will run a browser. And that includes Windows-based devices as well as iOS devices and a variety of other devices. But basically, as long as it runs Windows and can run a browser, including Safari and Mozilla and those types of different browsers on top of Internet Explorer, the application can be deployed. Very quickly, as we take a look at the functionality of the system, I'm going to log on as John Esposito. And each user within the system does have their own logons and their own distinct list of functions that they have access to. So as I log on as John, I can see the warehouses that I have authorization to conduct transactions in. I also can see what printers I might print my default activities to. So if I'm doing shipping and I want to print a packing slip, I can define which printer. If I'm packing out, I can define which printer I want my closing label to go to. If I'm having to label product at any point in the process, I can define which SKU sticker or barcode sticker label printer I want it to go to. So again, in larger warehouses, you may have printers in different areas. As I log on, you can see that I have a list of functionality available to me. John has the maximum amount of functionality, and it really covers all the different functions that we'll briefly go through today: receiving, put away, inventory inquiries, inventory adjustments, transfers, picking, packing, and shipping. We also have the ability to do cycle counting on the handhelds, which provides us with the ability to scan, review what's been scanned, and then post those transactions to SAP Business One when we're ready. Now, just to show how this same application is deployed just using a regular browser, because I'm actually running on a computer here, let's go on as Joan, And what we'll see is that Joan has some different capabilities and a very limited list of transactions that she can conduct. So again, this is just a bit of a proof that we do have different specific user authorizations, and it really clears up and directs the people what functionalities they have if they don't have a whole host of different menu options to choose from. So we'll just go ahead and thank Joan for her participation, and let's go ahead and take a look at how we can conduct some transactions. As I'm looking at SAP Business One, we all know that we have the item master screen, and we'll go ahead and just pull up an item. Actually, we'll go to a lot tracked item. That way we can see a little bit of the information that's of benefit that Lisa WMS brings to the table. So here we have our standard inventory master screen. We know that SAP does a tremendous job of keeping track of inventory in its various warehouses, and even with the advent of 9.0 allows us the ability to keep track of things in bins. For those customers who want to enhance that view or who are not quite yet running 9.0, we do have the advanced item transaction screen, which allows us to see across all of the warehouses where my product is located. Additional to that, if I want to go ahead and look at in a batch-controlled environment, what batches are in what given locations, I can see that, and we can also track expiration or shelf life type dating. So that is part of the system as well. FIFO picking, FIFO transactions, those are also part of the capabilities of the Lisa WMS Express version. So that gives us that visibility that we're looking for in the warehouse as to where things are physically located. Let's go ahead and do a couple transactions so we can get an appreciation for how easy the system is to use. I'm going to go ahead and enter in a purchase order. And in doing that, I'm just going to select Acme Associates, and we'll bring in a few different types of items. So again, we'll bring in a non-lot tracked, a lot tracked item, and then we'll also bring in a serialized item as well. These are usually just the standard demonstration items that we use in SAP Business One demonstrations. They really set up for the OEC computers type compute company. But again, it'll give you an appreciation for the different types of transactions that we have. So we'll go ahead and we have purchase order 334 that we want to go ahead and receive into the system. So we'll go ahead and either scan it, pick it from a drop-down list, and what you'll notice is as I'm doing this transaction, it's saying that order doesn't exist. And that is true. I did not click add or save on that particular order. And so when I go ahead and click add, something that I always like to do is show how the integration between the handheld application and SAP Business One is real-time. There's no upload, download, cradling, syncing, that type of thing. As we're bringing product in the door, we always like to locate the product immediately upon checking it in. What that means is we're going to ask you for a location. If you want to put that product right away in a location, you can walk up to a location, scan that location, and put it away as you're receiving it. If, however, your business process is more aligned with receiving something into a staging area and then putting it away later, we can certainly support that as well. So let's just pretend that we have a dock that we're receiving into. I would actually scan a barcode sticker that says dock in my dock, and you'll notice that it gives me the list of products that I'm to receive for this particular purchase order. You notice it's not showing me a quantity because we want to do blind receiving, which is one of the best business practices, so we're making people physically count things. In a case where my product is not labeled, we can deploy the product through a configuration that shows the items that are on the particular purchase order. If, however, my product is all barcoded coming in the door, I can go ahead and configure the system so that after I select my purchase order and my license plate, it's going to present me with a scanning screen. And I can either set a configuration to default on the UPC code if we're using UPC codes, or internal product codes if I'm doing internal product codes. So if I go ahead and just scan my product and go ahead and enter or scan the quantity that I want to receive, I have now received that into the warehouse. It's sitting there on the dock, and I have it in the WMS system as being received. Now, if I don't have my product labeled, I can go ahead and just use touchscreen technology to go ahead and tap on that item. It's going to prompt me for the batch number because this is a lot tracked product. We also have a configuration where we can go ahead and auto-generate the batch number if you are not going to use the manufacturer's lot number, but rather create your own. In this case, we're going to go ahead and just use the current date for this particular batch, just so we can keep track of it as we're receiving it. And we'll go ahead and receive the 20 of those into that lot. You're noticing now that the system is doing an automatic check against the purchase order for the quantity. So we do have quantity validation as well as item validation. And we have different settings for this, allowing for, whether you want to allow over receiving or not, whether you want to allow a casual prompt saying yes or no, or whether you want to put some variances on that. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK because I did physically have 20 of those particular units in front of me. And again, lastly, to receive a serialized item in, I'm going to go ahead and scan the serial numbers that I have in front of me. And we'll go ahead and put those away onto the dock. Okay, again, it's telling me the quantity exceeds the quantity order. Do you want to continue? We'll go ahead and click OK, and now we've received 3 of those in. When I'm done, I can go ahead and click Done. This is presenting me with a summary so that if I had found that I had made a mistake or fat-fingered something, I can go ahead and delete one of those receipts. And I also have the ability to go ahead and print barcode labels for my product as I'm receiving it. Additionally, if I needed to go ahead and add any remarks that would go on to my purchase order and my subsequent delivery note, I can do that. I can say received in good standing. When I'm done, I can go ahead and click Save. Again, if there's any automated labeling that we want to have, that's going to print out at that point. And what we have now is a purchase order receipt, a goods receipt PO. As we're taking a look at it, you can see that I've closed out all of my items on that particular purchase order. And if I look at my relationship map, I can go ahead and see that I have a goods receipt PO in the system. You'll notice also that any time that I've over-received, it's going ahead and creating a separate line item on the goods receipt PO. This is something that is giving a visual cue to the back office that there has been an over-receipt out in the warehouse so that they can go ahead and actually review that, see what the variance is, perhaps contact the supplier. Okay. So now we have that product actually in the warehouse. If I were to take a quick look at my inventory inquiry and I was to go ahead and scan my dock location, I can go ahead and see that right on the handheld to be able to go ahead and see what products I have in that location. I also have this ability to go ahead and see things by bin. So if I wanted to take we just did that by bin, sorry about that. But if I wanted to go ahead and take a look at products, scan a product and see where that's located, I can see I have a total in my warehouse, and I can go ahead and take a look at the various locations, seeing what serial numbers are in there, etc. So again, this inventory inquiry capability is very handy in terms of being able to see inventory and where it's located without having to return to your desk. So now that we have that product on the dock, we have the ability to go ahead and put that away in the warehouse. Now, the put away process is really an interesting automation. This is the first of our directed activities. And the directed activities uses the definition of your warehouse, how you lay it out in terms of travel sequence, and we'll cover that in a different session, how we configure our warehouse. But it helps decide where the best travel route is and the best location to put the product. So we'll go ahead and say that we're going to put all this product away in a zone that we call our case zone. So this is a set of locations or bins that I'm using to store like inventory and like locations. We'll go ahead and scan the location that I'm going to put it away from. And here you can see that it's prompting me, go ahead and pick up these 10 printers, and let's go put those away in the warehouse. It's giving me a suggested location. And so what I would do is I would go to that location. I would scan the location. I would then scan the product to confirm I'm putting the right product away, and then I would go ahead and confirm the quantity that I'm putting away. Now, it's telling me that that is confirmed. Okay, go back to the dock, pick up my next product, or if I have picked up a pallet full of product and that's on it, it's going to go ahead and tell me where to go put that. Now, it's telling me that I have room left in the bin that I just put product in, but if I wanted to change that location and I wanted to allow my users to do that based upon permissions, I can allow them to do that. If I somehow want to skip this particular product, I can skip it. But if I wanted to go ahead and change it and put this in a different location, I can go ahead and do that. Just walk to that location, scan that location. Because I've overridden it, it's going to ask me for a confirmation scan. And again, every step of the way, it's going ahead and validating. So if I don't scan the proper location, it's going to give me an error. If I'm scanning the wrong product, it's going to give me an error. And if I don't put in the right quantity, it's going to give me an error. So again, each step of the way, it's going ahead and making sure that the information is accurate that we're moving. So we've gone ahead and put a couple of those products away. I think we'll go on to the next step at this point. So now you'll see also we have the ability to leverage alerts within SAP Business One for any of the transactions that go on in the warehouse management solution. So as I look at my over-receipt alert here, it's telling me that I did over-receive. It's telling me which line items have been over-received, and again allows me to drill then down into the goods receipt PO. So oftentimes there's a disconnect between what's happening on the dock and what's happening in the back office. We look to bridge that gap of information, leveraging SAP Business One and its ability to alert the back office as to what's going on. So now we have that product in-house. Perhaps we want to go ahead and move some of that around. We have different ways of moving things around. We have inventory transfer, which allows us to transfer a single product at a time. Batch transfer, which allows us to transfer a list of products around at a given time. So I'm going to just go ahead and quickly show, perhaps we wanted to take one of those products off of the dock. Perhaps we want to send that through a QC process. So I'm going to go ahead and scan that product. I'm going to move it from the dock. I'm going to move it to a QC warehouse. And we'll go ahead and put that in QC 01. And we're saying that there's 3 of them there. Maybe I just want to do a test sample on one of them, so we can go ahead and just move one of them. So now that transfer is complete. So if I go ahead now and look in my inventory, and I look at the transactions that have been accomplished, I can look at my inventory transfer, and what you'll see is that inventory transfer appear in SAP Business One. I'm moving from my primary warehouse to my QC warehouse, and I have my serial number transaction report right there. Through these 2 transactions, the receiving and the inventory transfer, what I look to accomplish is showing you the real-time nature of the integration between the handhelds in SAP Business One, as well as the fact that the handhelds provide a very easy-to-use interface to create SAP Business One transactions. So another transaction that I always like to show is the inventory adjustment. So as we look at the inventory adjustment, this is oftentimes something that is very closely secured through a list of authorizations. We don't want everybody having the capability of being able to adjust our inventory. But what's nice about it is it does allow us to, on the handheld, allow a warehouse manager or somebody from accounting to go out and in real time at the source of a transaction be able to make transactions. So let's say that we needed to perhaps the packaging was damaged on one of the printers that we had just put away. Maybe we damaged it during the process. So we'll go ahead and scan that printer. We'll go ahead and scan the location where we're going to remove that from, and we're going to say how many good units we have left. It's going to prompt me for a reason code. Now, the reason code is created at time of implementation in a control table as all your SAP Business One configuration is done. And what this allows us to do is flag adjustments with reason codes that are then tailored to hit specific inventory accounts. So as the accountants are looking to perhaps analyze the source and reason and financial impact of some of our adjustments, we can go ahead and make those adjustments. So I'm just going to say that this was a failure. meaning that the packaging was bad. We'll go ahead and click Save. And, of course, as you would imagine, as we would manually do within SAP Business One, that's going to create a goods issue transaction. And what's nice about that is it has the code, the reason code, as well as the person that did that transaction right on the transaction itself. So that gives you a little bit of an overview of bringing the product in and moving it around. You'll see these pallet-type transactions here. And a pallet is, if I tend to receive product in full pallet loads, I can put a license plate on that pallet. That will then identify that load, whether it be a mixed load of different product of different quantities, or whether it just be a standard pallet full of a single product. I can just use that license plate, and rather than transacting the product on that particular pallet, I can scan that, a serialized number, which would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that pallet to move that product around the warehouse. Again, we can hit that in more depth on a more detailed demonstration. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just delete some of these alerts so they stop coming up. Okay. Now, that takes us through receiving the product, moving it around the warehouse. Let's look at actually entering a sales order and taking that through the process of picking, packing, and shipping. So in SAP Business One, as I'm sure you know, we can go ahead and enter sales orders very easily in the system. And we'll go ahead again and show you the way that you can go ahead and pick some products here. And we'll just do 5 of these and 7 of these. One thing you'll notice is that we do have the ability to turn on hard allocations in the system. So as we're taking a look at entering quantities on a sales order, it will inform you how many have been hard allocated, what you have in free stock, and what you have available to commit to the sales order. Now, this is an optional feature. It can be turned off or on, and is clearly something that some people in the industry want and others don't, so we make it optional. So I'll go ahead and just say that this is an order that we want right away. We'll go ahead and click Add, and now we have a sales order in the system. So, depending upon the business process that you choose, there is an ability to review orders, release them, and dispatch them to the warehouse. Everybody has their own way of managing this. The tool that Lisa WMS provides, I can either run in a given warehouse type environment, so I can run it right in the SAP cockpit, because again, it's all web-based. So now if I want to go ahead and take a look at my order picking priorities, I can go ahead and search for all my sales orders. And what I can see here, and obviously a very customizable screen in order to kind of move columns around and that type of thing. But what I have is a list of my sales orders that are open. I also have a list of those that have been dispatched to the warehouse already. As then orders are processed in the warehouse, they're dropping off of the bottom part of the screen, so I can kind of have a visual monitor of what's going on in my warehouse. But as I'm looking to review what I have open and what I might want to ship or pick and ship, I have the ability to go ahead and sort things on this screen. I can go ahead and group things by a given customer. I can apply filters to pickable percentages. So it's just giving me the ability to really kind of group and access the data in a way that makes sense for me for planning my fulfillment and my warehousing activities. So if I were to take a look at the fact that we just, I believe we just entered that order for Mr. Thompson, I can go ahead and say, hey, you know what, I have these 2 orders for Norm. I want to go ahead and release them to the warehouse. So as you can see, I can do a bulk release, I can group things, I can really get it to the way that I want. And then I can go ahead and copy those to released. Now those orders are available for me to go ahead and process. So if I go ahead and sort that by sales order, you'll see the orders that are down. Again, these filtering capabilities exist on the bottom portion of the screen as well. So the main purpose of this particular screen is, again, to see what you have open in orders, release them to the warehouse, and control how much you have out on the warehouse floor. Rather than printing all the different pick tickets and releasing them to the warehouse, you have the ability to go ahead and select and print pick tickets from here. I can go ahead and select orders to be in a particular group. If I have a group of like orders that need to go out to the same location, I can go ahead and group them, and I can pick them as a group, that type of thing. So, again, just something that I'm covering very quickly. There's a lot of depth that we can go into with that. But needless to say, I can go ahead and use this tool to go ahead and print my pick tickets in bulk. I can print them individually so that the warehouse has them to be able to take action on. Let me just go back here. All right, so now we actually have the order to be able to pick. So when I go into picking, I have the ability to go ahead and either have if I'm going paperless, I can have a drop-down list of orders. If I have paper with a barcoded pick order number, I can go ahead and scan that. So what I'll do is I'll scan my paper pick ticket or select it from a drop-down. It's going to tell me where I have the available inventory. So I have my warehouse set up in various zones or a single zone if you have a simple warehouse. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to pick this in the case zone. It's going to give me a quick order summary. Again, this is a very optional aspect where we can turn screens off and on that pop up during the process. But we're going to go ahead and tap next. And what it's going to do is ask me for a license plate. Again, the license plate is keeping track of everything in a very detailed and granular way as we're moving through the process. If you remember, I received onto a license plate. It allowed me to identify what location the product was before it was put away in the rack locations. In this case, it's saying you're going to take something from a given rack location or fixed location, and you're going to be moving it. So in this case, let's use a model where we're going to pick this product onto a cart. So we'll go ahead and just call this ZZ Cart. Perhaps we have that labeled on the handle of the cart that we can just scan. And now it's going to walk me through the warehouse in the most efficient picking process to go ahead and pick the product. So again, the scans, once people know how to do one function, they'll know how to do another. It's going to ask me for a confirmation scan of that I'm at the right location, that I'm pulling the right product. Again, you see me typing these, but these are scanning transactions. And then I can either scan the individual product itself, and it's going to count me up to how many I've picked, or I can enter the quantity that I'm going to pick. As we take a look now, it's prompting me to go ahead and stay in that same location because I have a mixed product location. Again, just as I could with the put away, I can choose a different location to pick from. Again, that's optional. But what we're doing here is going ahead and we're saying we're at the same location. We're going to scan the product. And in this case, I can either set my batch identifier to be a drop-down, presenting me in FIFO order or expiration date order, what list of batches I should be picking from, or I can set that to just a scannable field. So I'm going to go ahead and just receive this, select that product from that particular batch, and I'm going to pick that quantity. Now it's telling me that order has been fully picked. Again, back in SAP Business One, I'll get visibility to the fact that the order has been picked. I'm going to take that cart over, and I'm going to close that order out. This is an optional step. I can go from picking directly to shipping, but for those organizations that have a packaging process, we have a packaging step. So I'm going to demonstrate the packaging step with the understanding that in the same way you don't have to use delivery notes in SAP Business One, you can go right from a sales order to an invoice. In Lisa, you can go from picking to shipping. But if I want to use an interim step to validate and to box things out, I can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and scan the pick ticket at my packing station. And let's say that I'm going to pack these out into 2 boxes. Well, I can go ahead and scan my product. And again, here I can be scanning the individual products themselves to do the confirmation. You'll notice as I'm doing this scanning, it's counting down, saying how many were picked and how many are now in the box. Of course, if I scan something that wasn't picked for that order, it's giving me that validation and accuracy. And again, just go ahead and scanning that and it will go ahead and pack that out. Once I have that box full, I'm going to tap on the closing confirmation, and what's going to happen is I'm going to have a box identifier, so we'll just call this order 313 box 1. Oftentimes this is a list of stickers, or we can auto-generate for you. And now it's going to go ahead and print a carton content label. It has the name, the address, the contents of the carton, and the order number. So we'll go ahead and say we're going to print that. Brings me back to the packaging screen, and now I'm going to go ahead and pack into the other box. And here I can say that I want to take that quantity in full. And now it's going to ask me to confirm the batch that I'm packing. And I can go ahead and put that into 313 box 2. Again, prompting me for how many stickers I want. So this function can be used for packing into boxes. It can also be used for packing or building up pallets. And then in that case, if you're printing your sticker, you may want to have 4 of them to go on each corner of the pallet. And the last step in the process is to go ahead and do shipping. But if we find that we have picked something and somebody in customer service says, you know what, they don't want that anymore, we do have the ability to use a put back to inventory and take something off a pick and put it back into inventory if necessary. But let's go ahead and move straight into shipping. So if you can imagine, if we're using the model of I've picked it, I've packed it, it's coming down the conveyor, I can go ahead and I can use the shipping module to go ahead and ship that product. Now, this is oftentimes where I like to show the application running on just a regular browser. And the reason for that is because oftentimes shipping stations don't need that mobility. As boxes are coming down a conveyor, it can be just a static fixed station. And so maybe I want to go ahead and just use a static fixed station to go ahead and log on. And we'll go ahead and validate, and now we can go into shipping. So one thing you'll notice is that with the handhelds, you need to really be careful of which technology you deploy because you have a limited landscape or real estate for the things to be viewed, your data elements to be viewed. So oftentimes, as I say, people will go ahead and use a static PC or a tablet with a scanner, either one, providing us a full view of that order. I'll get that same thing on the handheld. I'll just have to scroll a little bit if I have a lot of line items. But here you can see it's really giving me now what has been picked, what has been packed into these boxes, and what I should have coming down the conveyor belt. Here I now have the ability to choose the carrier if I have any difference of opinion or requirement. Maybe some of it needs to go UPS red or DHL red, etc. I can choose and enter an FOB, a container number, track the weight. If I want to enter a note, I can say that I packed into 2 boxes and confirmed. So if I need to capture any of that information. And now I can either scan the boxes, scan the product, or click a load all button in order to confirm what it is I'm about to ship. So you can see in terms of accuracy of picking, at the time of picking, we're confirming and validating against the sales order. The closeout process provides another layer of authorization and validation, and then before it goes out the door, we're doing a final check. What this is really doing is allowing you to have a high level of accuracy in your picking and shipping, and reducing, if not eliminating, any shipping errors that you may have as you're going in the system. Now, as I've clicked ship, what it's done is gone ahead and printed a shipping document. It's a crystal report. Some people have it a packing slip. Others say want it to look like an invoice. Others want it to look like a bill of lading. But the net result of that process is a delivery note within SAP Business One. You can see what was picked, packed, and shipped. You can see that I've pulled forward the notes that I recorded on the handheld. Again, if I have any type of lot tracking or serial tracking, that is activated within SAP Business One as well. And so what you have now is a completed process of bringing the product all the way in through the process. We've received the product, we've put it away, we've inquired against it, we've adjusted it, we've moved it around the warehouse, we've picked it, we've packed it, we've shipped it. So we have the ability to do all of this functionality on the handheld without SAP Business One licensing to be able to interact in real time, improve the accuracy within your warehouse, and be able to efficiently process information within your warehouse environment. Now, the last thing that I like to show, even though it was a very short demonstration, is we do have the ability to track in a vast amount of detail all the transactions that occur on the handhelds, or in SAP Business One for that matter. So here you're seeing all the transactions that we've just recorded during the course of this demonstration. It's 3 pages worth. Again, I can avoid the paging by customizing the screen and deactivating the scroll. But here I have the ability to go ahead and trace things. So if I wanted to say, hey, I wanted to take a look at who was doing what in the warehouse, I can go ahead and group by employee name. I can see what transactions Bill Roos did. So we can see that was what Bill did, packing out. And I can see all the transactions that John Express did. If I was looking for information on a particular batch or lot, I have that ability here as well. I can filter, I can sort, I can group. So it's giving me date and time stamp traceability and information on all the transactions that happen in my warehouse, which again will tie out directly to the information that I get in my home environment where I'm looking at all of the performance on my warehouse. So again, Lisa Distribution provides you lots of transaction capability in the warehouse, in a wireless warehouse, using barcode scanning to accurately scan, accurately transact, and control the flow of inventory through your warehouse. Thank you very much for your time. We look forward to further sessions that explain more of the functionality. As you can see, there's a lot to it. It's a very wide and deep product, but this was intended just to give you that overview. Please feel free to talk to your partner about additional functionality or additional requirements you might have for our product. We look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you.